Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we got to talk about Bitcoin and the altcoins because we're seeing some positive signs here. In yesterday's podcast, I said we needed confirmation of finding the bottom and starting to move up, and that this week potentially could be big, the start of the next rally. And we got some macro headwinds out of the way. I'll give you all the details. First and foremost, Bitcoin closed the weekly with the highest weekly close ever. So over $119,000, very bullish. So the consolidation continues here for Bitcoin, and we could see a breakout to the upside this week. So keep an eye out on this. One thing that we were watching is the $115,000 CME gap. So that roadblock is out of the way. Not to mention Bitcoin is out of the overbought zone, so it has room here to run. In addition, we got some favorable macro news on the tariff front. So the US and the EU have struck a major trade deal, and the US and China have agreed to extend their pause on the tariffs for another 90 days. So these macro headwinds here are not going to be an issue to hold us back for this market to keep going up. And I think the biggest one was the US-China situation. So this getting pushed back again is very favorable. And what we saw is Ethereum was leading the recovery today. It is currently over $3,800. But if you look at the chart, you can see it has some green candles moving to the upside. It is in the overbought zone, but it's what we were discussing, that some of these coins could hang out in the overbought zone for a bit more and continue to rally before we see a deeper pullback. And I think that's what's happening here. I think Ethereum is going to break through 4,000 pretty soon, and it could top out at 4,200, 4,300, maybe in that zone. We'll have to wait and see. And likewise, as I've been saying, Bitcoin, the next target is between 127,000 to 132K. It could go higher, but that's what I'm looking at. And you can imagine the other altcoins are going to follow, folks. One thing we are seeing that's a positive sign here, the blockchain backer highlighted it, that BNB, the native token to the Binance exchange, has hit new all-time highs. So you're seeing the rotation of liquidity hitting different coins. It's what we've been saying since Bitcoin hit 123K, was in the overbought zone, and then the liquidity started flowing to XRP, ETH, and these other coins. And now every dog is having its day in the market. So we are still in the bull market, folks. We're still seeing movement here, but remember the cycles, right? And the liquidity flow that's taking place. But a very good sign, BNB, one of the top 5 coins, hitting new highs, and we're going to continue to see rotation of liquidity. Now, USDT dominance continues to break down here. I've been telling you guys that once it breaks below 4, it's going to be fireworks. So I'm expecting this thing to break down to 3.6% or so. We'll see where it gets, but I think that liquidity will certainly flow into Bitcoin and the altcoins. Bitcoin dominance also breaking down. So all of these things are conducive to a rally coming very soon. And once again, I think it's a local top, not a move to the blow-off top. And I'll talk a bit more about that. If you look at total 3, which excludes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins, also breaking to the upside. So a very positive sign here. Now, I posted this on X today. I believe the top of the bull market is going to come in late October into early November. In that time zone, I can't call the exact day or hour. Obviously, no one can do that. We don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to share why I believe that. First, the global liquidity chart, which we've been following closely, that is showing a top in late October right now. So Bitcoin and the crypto market and even the stock market, they lag behind global liquidity by a few months. So it won't be an exact moment, the exact top alignment here, but it will be a zone, as we always talk about, the top zone. And second, China and the United States, the news I just shared with you guys, they have paused the tariffs. So that macro headwind has been pushed back. And guess what? 3 months from now takes us into October, August, September, October, right, folks? So you see how these things are aligning here. Number 3, it's what I've been sharing before. Congress is set to vote on the Clarity Act, the market structure bill, come September. David Sachs said by the end of September, he expects this to be done. we've seen government does not move according to an exact timeline. There's always delays, pushbacks. We saw it with the Genius Bill. So if this thing happens in sometime in October, which I think it will, this aligns with the top zone. That would be a huge narrative. You can imagine mainstream media, everybody saying it's okay to invest in crypto. Congress has passed legislation. Trump signed it into law. Huge narrative, even bigger than the Genius Act, which is the stablecoin legislation. So you have three solid factors here. There are other things like the timeline we've seen historically, the topping signals, which had flagged in previous cycles, like the pi cycle top indicator for Bitcoin, and much more. But these are three items here, which I think are critical to getting an idea of when this thing might top out. And it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I hope you understand why my logic here as to forming this thesis and the facts I'm using, not dreams, not hopes now, right? Global liquidity, the pause on the tariffs for 90 days, Congress, David Sachs saying they're going to vote on this thing in late September. So these are all facts now, okay? So that's what I'm thinking, but I will be taking profits in this next rally, which I think takes us to a local top, and then we see a correction and then a continuation. But let's see how things play out, folks. We really have to pay close attention to the charts and the markets right now. This is not a time to walk away. And if you are planning to take profits, make sure you got that plan written down and you start executing as we get closer to the top. Now, quick word from our sponsor, and that is VeChain. VeChain is one of the top layer one blockchains out there. They're getting adoption by many enterprises and businesses around the globe, building Web3 technology on this blockchain. I'm a VET token holder. I have been since 2018. I'm very bullish on this project, and I believe it will do well in this bull market cycle. Some of the key features of the VeChain blockchain includes it's secure, affordable, scalable, fast, and sustainable. Some of the brands working with VeChain includes Givenchy, PwC, that's a top 4 accounting firm, Walmart China, BMW, Boston Consulting Group. They are also partnered with the UFC and Dana White, doing some very cool things. So folks, I'm bullish on this project. Once again, I'm a token holder, so I've got skin in the game here, believing in this project. So if you'd like to learn more about VeChain, go to vechain.org. The link will be in the description. Now, look at this news. NYDIG, which is a pretty big Wall Street firm that has been involved in Bitcoin for a long time. At one point, they were looking to bring Bitcoin to federal credit unions and small banks, but due to the Operation Choke Point 2.0 situation, they got delayed. I think they're going to try to start that up again, but check this out. Michael Saylor is bringing Bitcoin-backed money market style vehicle to Wall Street, says NYDIG. Strategy has launched a $2 billion stretch preferred stock offering with a variable 9% dividend. The offering doesn't give investors direct Bitcoin exposure, but rather uses the asset's historical return profile to sustain high payouts. The STRC offering has proven popular, with investor interest driving the company to quadruple the offering size, and may represent a new type of investment vehicle that brings Bitcoin's potential to traditional finance income investors. So we continue to see different financial products being built around Bitcoin and different crypto assets. And I've often stated it will start with Bitcoin and then they're going to go to altcoins, right? We saw it with the ETFs. We're seeing it with the treasury strategy. So Bitcoin is really the testing ground for a lot of these altcoins. And once it works at Bitcoin, they eventually move down the list. And the fact that Wall Street is, endorsing this is really great, but I'm going to highlight that, we have to be careful here. I don't know how these things are going to perform in the bear market, because remember, markets move in cycles, bull and bear, and the liquidity, which drives all assets, is not always on the upside, right? There are dips along the way. There's quantitative tightening and all these things. And we have to make sure we're vigilant. I will be taking profits, like I told you guys, on crypto and stocks. I have some stocks. And is there some stocks in my portfolio I'm holding long-term? Yes. Is there some crypto I'm holding long-term? Yes. But I will be taking some profits off the table to do things like pay off debt, spend a bit, boost up my retirement. I have a traditional financial setup. My wife is more comfortable with that. So I'm going to, move some of my gains over there, and I'm going to take some of the money to reinvest in the bloody bear market. and obviously help out family and things like that. So that's my strategy. It doesn't mean you have to follow it, but I'm sure many of you may have similar goals. As far as what you want to do with the money, I believe in, giving yourself as much financial freedom by eliminating debt. That's usually the big thing that holds us back, because debt is like this burden you carry around. But if you're able to eliminate it, as much of it, it can really free you up to do more with your money. You go more vacations, all of that, right? And obviously retirement is a big thing you want to plan for. So that's what I'm personally doing. Again, you don't have to follow it, but this is interesting, nevertheless, what strategy's building, and let's see who else decides to do things like this as it relates to altcoins. Now, this is interesting. Divine Research issues unbacked crypto loans using Sam Altman's World ID. So many of you know Road to Liberty coin. It was launched by Sam Altman. It's a bit dystopian, the orb that they have, because they scan your retina. We don't know if the data is being protected. We need a third-party auditor to come in to review these things, but nevertheless, they seem to be getting adoption. So San Francisco-based lender Divine Research has issued around 30,000 unbacked short-term crypto loans since December, using OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's iris scanning platform World ID to verify borrowers. Divine offers loans under $1,000 in USDC stablecoin, mainly to overseas borrowers underserved by traditional finance. It uses World ID to ensure users cannot open multiple accounts after defaulting. He says, we're loaning to average folks like high school teachers, fruit vendors, basically anyone with access to the internet can get access to our funds, Divine founder Diego Estevez told the Financial Times. This is microfinance on steroids. Now, I like the idea. The microfinance, I think this is a future as stable coins and crypto become more prominent and they get more adoption, and the rails are set up globally. So I absolutely believe in this mission, and I believe it will help bank the unbanked and open up different financial services to people who unfortunately were not able to, or they're in a country with a lot of poverty, hyperinflation, things like that. The only thing that I don't like about World Liberty is the retina scan. I think that's a bit too much. And then I don't know where that data is going, unless they show that, they're using, for example, zero knowledge proof, and that data is unhackable and that data is secure. You know what I mean, guys, right? And it's being done properly. Then I'll be like, okay, I back this. I like what they're doing. But that's the only hesitation I have. But I love what the offering that they're providing, these small loans that could really help people, especially if it's in a USD backed stablecoin, because the US dollar is the world reserve currency. So this is really great. They said here, interest rates range from 20 to 30%, with a reported first loan default rate of around 40%. High interest rates compensate for these losses, Estevez said, adding that free world tokens issued to borrowers can be partially reclaimed. So let's see how this goes. That's a very high interest rate, so we'll see how this all plays out. Folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the market. If you think we should see a rally this week, it's very possible. A great way you can support me in the podcast is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. Knowledge is power. Expand your knowledge around the crypto asset class and technology. This course covers everything. So if you'd like to learn more, go to mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.